For centuries, humanity has sought to control the forces of nature to tame rivers and protect our cities. Levees, mighty earthen or concrete walls, stand as our primary defense against the power of rising waters. They offer security, allowing life to flourish behind their formidable presence. But what happens when that defense fails? What happens when the levee breaks? It's a moment when control is lost and a cascade of destruction is unleashed. This documentary explores the critical role of levees, the catastrophic consequences of their failure, and the profound lessons learned from moments when these crucial barriers gave way. It's a story of engineering, vulnerability, and the relentless power of water. To understand the devastation of a levee breach, we first need to appreciate their purpose and construction. Levees are essentially artificial embankments built parallel to a river or along a coastline, designed to prevent water from flooding adjacent land. They are a cornerstone of flood control, especially in low-lying, densely populated areas. Most levees are constructed from compacted earth, forming a sloping barrier that can be hundreds of miles long. Modern levees might incorporate concrete walls, sheet piling, or even internal clay cores for added strength. Their design is complex, aiming to withstand immense pressure from water, absorb saturation, and prevent erosion. For communities built on floodplains, levees provide a vital sense of security. They allow for agricultural development on fertile lands, enable the growth of towns and cities, and protect critical infrastructure like roads, railways, and power plants. Without them, many major population centers would simply not exist in their current form. However, levees are not infallible. Their failure can be attributed to several factors. Overtopping occurs when the water level simply rises above the levee's crest. Erosion, either from the riverside scouring or the landside slumping, can weaken the structure. Seepage, where water slowly infiltrates through or under the levee, can lead to internal erosion, known as piping, which can cause a sudden collapse. Structural weaknesses, design flaws, or inadequate maintenance can also contribute to catastrophic failure. Understanding these vulnerabilities is key to appreciating the immense risks involved. The history of levee breaches is unfortunately long, marked by moments of profound destruction. One of the most infamous examples is the Great Mississippi Flood of 1927. During this colossal flood, the immense volume of water put unprecedented strain on the extensive levee system along the Mississippi River. Despite being considered state-of-the-art at the time, dozens of levees across multiple states failed. The most significant was the intentional dynamiting of the Poydras levee below New Orleans to relieve pressure on the city, though this action controversially flooded St. Bernard and Plaquemines parishes, displacing thousands without protecting New Orleans as intended. The sheer scale of the breaks led to the inundation of 27,000 square miles, displacing over 700,000 people and causing hundreds of fatalities. This disaster led to the Flood Control Act of 1928, ushering in the modern era of federal levee management by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. More recently, the catastrophic flooding of New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina in 2005 serves as a stark reminder of levee vulnerability. While the hurricane itself was devastating, the widespread urban flooding was primarily due to the failure of the city's levee and flood wall system. Over 50 breaches occurred along 130 miles of protective structures around New Orleans and the surrounding parishes. Water poured into the city from Lake Pontchartrain and other waterways, submerging approximately 80% of the urban area, in some places under 15 feet of water. The consequences were profound. Over 1,800 lives lost, over 1 million people displaced, and economic damages exceeding $125 billion. The investigation into the failures revealed a combination of design flaws, construction shortcomings, and inadequate maintenance by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, highlighting the complex interplay of engineering and oversight in such critical infrastructure. The disaster led to a complete overhaul of New Orleans' flood protection system, involving the construction of new, more robust flood walls and gates. Another significant event was the 1889 Johnstown flood in Pennsylvania. Here, the failure was not of a river levee but of the South Fork Dam, an earthen dam that had been poorly maintained. After days of heavy rain, the dam collapsed, releasing 20 million tons of water from Lake Conemaugh. A 30 to 40-foot high wall of water surged down the Little Conemaugh River Valley, reaching the city of Johnstown in about an hour. The speed and force of the water were unimaginable, sweeping away everything in its path. Over 2,200 people died, making it one of the deadliest floods in U.S. history. The Johnstown flood became a powerful lesson in dam safety and the need for rigorous engineering and maintenance of water retention structures, especially those upstream of populated areas. The consequences of a levee breaking extend far beyond the immediate inundation. A cascade of destruction is unleashed, impacting virtually every aspect of life in the affected region. Economically, the losses are immense. Homes, businesses, infrastructure, roads, bridges, power grids, water treatment plants are destroyed or severely damaged. The cost of recovery and rebuilding can be astronomical, often stretching into decades and placing enormous financial strain on local, regional, and national economies. Disrupted supply chains, lost agricultural output, and long-term business closures contribute to a protracted period of economic stagnation. Socially, the impact is devastating. Lives are lost and communities are shattered. Mass displacement creates refugees within their own country, leading to prolonged psychological trauma, loss of community identity, and severe public health challenges. The trust and protective infrastructure and governmental oversight can be severely eroded, leading to long-term social instability. Environmentally, the effects are widespread. The sudden release of water can scour landscapes, destroy critical habitats, and spread pollutants from industrial sites or overwhelm sewage systems across vast areas. Agricultural lands can be rendered infertile by silt deposition or saltwater intrusion in coastal breaches. The environmental recovery often takes as long, if not longer, than the physical rebuilding. Expert: levee breaches are not just isolated events, they often trigger a domino effect. The initial breach leads to rapid inundation, which then compromises other infrastructure, creating a compounding disaster. The speed of the water, the depth, and the unpredictability of the flow make these events particularly dangerous and challenging to respond to. As climate change continues to increase the frequency and intensity of extreme weather events, the pressure on existing levee systems will only grow. Older infrastructure, in particular, may not have been designed to withstand the magnitude of floods we are now experiencing. This increases the risk of future failures, making proactive assessment and investment in resilient infrastructure more critical than ever. The phrase "when the levee breaks" evokes a powerful image of disaster, a moment when human control succumbs to natural forces. Yet, the lessons learned from these catastrophic events are invaluable. They underscore the need for robust engineering, rigorous maintenance, and continuous investment in our flood protection systems. Modern flood management strategies go beyond simply building higher levees. They include approaches like restoring natural floodplains, developing sophisticated early warning systems, implementing smart land use planning, and fostering community preparedness. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and similar agencies worldwide are constantly evaluating and upgrading flood control infrastructure, learning from past failures to build stronger, more resilient defenses. The goal is to move from reactive response to proactive prevention, mitigating the risks before disaster strikes. The stories of Johnstown, the Mississippi, and New Orleans serve as enduring warnings. They remind us that while we strive to control the waters, we must also respect their power. When the levee breaks, the cascade of destruction can be immense, but our commitment to understanding, adapting, and protecting our communities must be equally resolute.